everyone, I'm Sonia and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I am going to share with you a recipe of chocolate banana bread. I have made this for a long time in the house, so we are learning how to adjust this recipe in the RV. So let me just go over this. This is one that I printed out ages ago. It has been in my cookbook of recipes. So we are going to just real quick go over the ingredients for what we need. I've got cocoa powder. I swear by this stuff. It's the Ghirardelli that you can you get this on Amazon, but if you have a Ghirardelli store near you, last time we were at Disney Springs, they do actually carry this in stock now. But the Ghirardelli cocoa powder is great. I use it for baking, hot cocoa, so definitely love this. We need some all-purpose flour. We'll need brown sugar, light or dark. Mine's kind of a mix right now, but light or dark works for this recipe. You'll need table salt, baking soda, not baking powder, vanilla, 3 or 4 bananas that are really ripe, some chocolate chips, an egg, and some melted butter. So, time to get started on getting our recipe ready. Materials that you'll need your measuring cups and spoons, you'll need your pan and spatula, and then of course you'll need a mixer, and I love this KitchenAid mixer. It makes the process so much easier, especially when it comes to mashing the bananas. But if you don't have a stand mixer, don't worry, you can do all of it. And the second best tool is the potato masher. Actually mashes the bananas up very well, and you can smush them down really good and then add the butter and then do everything else with a mixing bowl and spatula. But I'm going to use my mixer. Alright, so let's get started with melting the butter. If you haven't watched a previous recipe where I need to melt it, there's a couple ways you can do it. If you need it softened, you can just get the glass hot, but since I need this to actually be liquid, I'm going to put it in the microwave, but only for about 15 seconds at a time, and then we'll start getting the bananas peeled and let them start getting mushed. Keep that butter melting. There's a lot of bruises in these. If they're not, like if they're dark brown, I do pull them out. But if they're just kind of like soft spots and they're light brown, I don't worry about them too much. I do try to pull out some of the little runny parts. This one's got a lot of bruises. Alright, so we've got the banana pureed and the butter melted. So what we are going to do, I forgot to mention, you need a bowl and a whisk. We need to mix our dry ingredients together, and then we'll get our wet ingredients together and add our dry in. So this recipe does need to be done separately. I have done it all together before and it just didn't come together as well. So definitely do this in 2 separate steps. So we'll start with our dry ingredient. Alright, so we've got our banana mixture nice and mixed in, nice and smooth. So we're going to lock that back in place. And now we're going to start adding ingredients. I started on low. So we are going to turn it on low and add the melted butter into the bananas. Alright, so next, since that is all mixed in, we are going to start adding in our other wet ingredients. We're going to start with the brown sugar. And we need 3/4 cups of that, and we want to pack it in there real good. So just kind of scoop it and then smoosh it and then dump it and repeat. right, so next we want to add in a teaspoon of salt. And then we're just going to turn that up a little bit to make sure all the brown sugar gets mixed up well. Good. So next we want to add in our egg and our vanilla. I like to use the measuring cup just in case I get shell. I'm not the best egg breaker, so this just makes it easier. And then finally we're going to add in our teaspoon of vanilla, and then that'll be the end of our wet ingredients, and then we'll start adding in the dry. Now we are going to start adding in our dry ingredients. And we'll just do a little bit of a time and let that get mixed until it is just mixed to where the dry is just barely dry. We don't want to over mix it. It can just make the bread just too, I don't know, doughy. We want it to be light and fluffy. So don't over mix it. Something else I have learned the hard way. Adds the speed as it gets thicker. And then just before it's mixed, I'm just gonna pull it up and scrape the edges and just make sure all that gets put down in there real good. The scraper usually does pretty good, but this just makes sure we don't have anything missed in there. All right, a few more spins on this. All right, that is just mixed in, so now time to put in the chocolate chips. All right, so we had a camera malfunction, so I don't think you saw, but we folded in half a cup of chocolate chips and we just used Nestle's. I didn't have any Ghirardelli chips on hand. These were what were on sale last time I went shopping. So we just put some of these in here, and now all of our batter is ready. So we are gonna put it in here. I have a regular cake pan. I have used a loaf pan, I've used muffin pans, but when I make the chocolate banana bread, I like to use just a cake pan or a larger pan just because I'm gonna split this up and share it between a few of our family members. We all like it, but we don't all eat a whole bunch of it. So this just allows us to chop it into smaller loaves, wrap some of it up for the freezer, some now and later. So that's why I'm gonna use this nice big pan, but you can use whatever size pan you'd like. And just know when you use a different size pan, it does adjust the cooking times and temperatures. It'll still be at 350, so you'll just need to adjust time a little bit. All right, so I'm just gonna tap it, get it all leveled out, get air bubbles out. Good, not too many bubbles. So you'll see there are some chocolate chips sticking up. When you make breads, a lot of times you check them by sticking a toothpick in. that method's not gonna work for this bread. It will rise and the chips will melt, so it'll still be gooey in the middle. So with this particular bread, you'll bake it probably about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on your oven. I haven't made it in here, so it may take longer. I'm expecting probably close to an hour, but I'll know it's ready when I can push on the top of the bread and it bounces back at me. It's got that springy bread kind of texture to it. So let's get this popped in the oven and start that timer. All right, so we'll set our timer, and while the bread is baking, this is a great time to clean up the mess that we've made and get everything put away. And that way that's a chore we don't have to do later. So we'll see you in a bit when we check on the bread. All right, you guys, it's been about 40 minutes, so we're gonna check the bread because it's starting to look pretty good. And remember earlier I said we're just gonna kind of press the top and see if it springs back. If it does spring back, then we'll know it's ready. If it doesn't spring back, then it needs a little bit more time. So let's pop in there real quick and check. Looks like it's springing back to me. I am gonna do a toothpick check real quick. I know that the melted Hershey chips will, or chocolate chips will come out, but I just kind of double check it just to make sure. Yay, so that is done, which means we need to let this cool. It needs to cool for about an hour. We want it completely cooled. So we'll give it about 10 minutes in the pan, and then we'll flip it onto a wire rack and let it cool for an hour before we cut it, and then we can either eat it or pack it up to freeze.
Okay.
All right, so this has now had about 10 to 15 minutes to cool in the pan. It's touchable. So we are going to still use the hot pads because they can still be hot down inside. And just flip it. Woo. So I can catch the feet. There they go. There it is, beautiful and all. So that looks fabulous. We're gonna let that cool for about an hour, and then we'll get it cut into pieces and portions for where it's going. Our bread has cooled down, so of course we're gonna sample a piece of it, make sure it's good, and then we'll get it cut up and ready. So I'm just gonna cut me a little corner off right here. Chocolate, banana, still warm. This is really good on its own, or even with some ice cream if you want like a fancy dessert. But this is definitely going to be a keep recipe, so I'm excited to get this split up. I know my dad, my father-in-law, my mom, I all love to eat this, so I tend to try to divide it and give us all some, especially before a travel day, since we don't all need a whole bunch of it, but we enjoy it. So this will definitely be a great recipe. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how yours comes out, and let me know, are you more of a cake pan, a loaf pan, or a muffin pan kind of person when it comes to your banana bread options? I would love to hear from you in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, support our channel, and we'll see you next time around for another new recipe. Have a great day, you guys.